All right. Somebody asked me to watch XQC and MoistCr1tikal debate the Dhar Man situation. So the Dhar Man situation is pretty basic. Basically all it is Dhar Man. The actors are coming out and the actresses saying that they're not getting paid their fair share. When they first started making Dhar Man content, they didn't really care if they made enough money because it was a small operation. And now they want to get paid what they feel they're worth. And I understand that, right? And so Dhar could be paying them more money. On the other hand, and I think that they have every right to advocate for themselves, and I think they should continue to do so. But we also recognize that they aren't that good. Right? They're not that good they're not good actors. That's why they get hired to do that. I'm not trying to be rude. And so there's a conversation here to be had. It's interesting. So yeah, that's where we're at. So let's see what this debate is on the topic.
I'm doing nuts, okay? Every time I watch your videos, okay,
wow.
I'll either give a supporting take or another take, or sometimes it's aligned or something neutral.
Yeah.
I watched it in your video, and maybe it's because of my fundamentals, I genuinely didn't agree with it. Your takes.
I didn't watch this video. I'm assuming he was going to say that Dhar Man did a bad thing.
Fair enough or not?
That's totally fine. This is one that I'm a little surprised to hear, though, because I feel like this is just a really basic, not controversial take at all.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I see a big fallacy. Okay, it's like a slippery slope.
This is the problem when that XQC is friends with Destiny. So now it's like just debating just to debate. You know what I mean? Like, I think workers have every right to advocate for themselves, and good for them. If Dhar Man has the money and they're saying that, like, we're gonna protest if you don't pay us more, and he has the money, why not? Like, who really cares? At the same time, though, they're also, you know, he intentionally hires bad actors. And also, there are some people, there's one kid on there that has like his own react channel where he reacts to Dhar Man videos that he's in. Like, that's where I think is like, you know, you have to use this as an opportunity to grow yourself. But the problem is that they're not like generally that entertaining except for cringy Dhar Man videos. You know what I mean? So
a slippery slope coming up. Okay, to me, it feels like the argument is like, yo, dude, they work for something that is very successful and makes a lot of money. Therefore, they're entitled to more. Just like, let's say, Amazon is popping out, they're like $1 trillion company, right? Well, technically, the dude could, you know, Bezos could afford to make every employee $150K a year, right? Without affecting much of the company's worth. But sometimes, like, I mean, should he?
Wow, I can't believe XQC destroyed his own argument instantly. So XQC just rapid fired through like, basically saying that if Amazon makes a lot of money and they can pay their employees better and it wouldn't have a negative impact on the business, should they actually pay them more? Now, maybe not $150,000 a year, but yes, the answer is yes. If you have a successful company and your factory workers are getting paid $50 an hour, but you could afford to pay them $20 an hour and it wouldn't have a negative impact on the business. In fact, it would probably have a positive impact on the business because you'd get better outcomes because they'd be getting paid more. You shouldn't have to do that. Yes, you should. Why? Well, I mean, you don't have to, but like you should. You should appreciate your employees. What a hot take.
Probably not.
Why?
That's just my take.
So I can see why you'd want to draw that comparison. It's just in this field that's not really apt. So
wow. I'm sorry. Wow. Okay. Why? Why wouldn't you just say like, yeah, my point exactly? Why? The reason I'm laughing is because wait.
But actors are being paid, as I understand it, almost exactly what they were being paid when the channel made $0.
Okay, sorry. So the reason that I'm laughing here is because MoistCr1tikal is like, no, it's not the same, which suggests to me that he's just like, yeah, no, it's okay to underpay Amazon workers. Oh my God, it's like high school debate class.
0 subscribers, and they were contractors as opposed to employees, which isn't unusual, especially for that kind of field.
Yeah, but you know how much that is? I looked at you off. I want to make some quick maths here. Did they ever release how much they're making? How many hours that they're working on? Because I watched the video.
And that's a fair criticism to say, like, okay, did they tell us how much money they were making, how many hours they were working, et cetera, et cetera? Probably not. But that's something that I had said. It's like, we really don't know if the contract's good or fair or not. Because what I said, they're like, oh, we can't. The biggest thing they're saying is we can't even afford rent. And we're Dharman actors. And it's like, okay, but how long are you working? If you have a 15-minute video, let's say maybe you're acting for half an hour. It's no way that they do like a ton of takes. I mean, the content is so bad. There's no way that they're doing like tons and tons of takes. So they're probably banging it out in a single take or 2 takes because the acting is cringy, and that's part of like the aesthetic of an Dharman video. So like, yeah, it's a factor. So like, let's say they're doing a half-hour work, they get paid $500. I mean, that's not bad. Don't Amazon workers get paid decently and have benefits aside from terrible hours? I don't think they get paid that well, no.
I think at face value, because I feel like there's a lot loaded in here that isn't being unpacked. Because maybe you know more than I do, so your opinion is more strong about it. Because when I look at it,
well, then you probably shouldn't. Yeah.
Right? With the info I'm given, I could not come to the same conclusion as you.
Okay, I gotta like turn the volume thing off. I want to turn myself down because it's just like bugging out.
Cook you, okay?
Okay.
Like,
sorry.
And
I watched a video.
So you mean
with the info I'm given, I could not come to the same conclusion as you.
no? So you mean like actual figures? Have they released their salaries?
Yeah.
No.
No.
And as far as how much they're working, you can only speculate. But since Dharman uses the same actors and contracts them as opposed to puts them on payroll, you can kind of extrapolate that. Since, for example, Colin, who plays Steve in most of the content, I think he's been in roughly like at least, and this is a ballpark, like 40% of his videos in some capacity. That's
right, but that doesn't matter because if we don't know how many hours they're working, then like and how much money they're making, we don't really know how much money they're making per hour. So
still a lot of hours. Like that's a decent.
They work 11 hours a day for $100. I doubt that
chunk of hours, and
doubtful.
He is not getting paid the standard that an actor working those hours would be paid.
But we don't know.
And the reason there's a protest is because they understand like they're not entitled to more money, though I think it's only fair given the work they put in, and as it's grown so much, Dharman being in his position would want to take care of his actors. The reason they're protesting is because he refuses.
I just doubt that they work 11 hours for $100 on a Dharman. If that's true, like, yeah, that's an issue. What about the returning actors? We don't know how much they make on that. Are you saying that you worked on did you do a Dharman video yourself? Is that what you're telling me? You worked a Dharman video? Is that what you're telling me? Because I'm curious.
Is to even speak with them on their payroll, and instead fires them if they bring it up, or dodges them since he's pushed their last 3 meetings and then just completely canceled the 4th. So the reason specifically for the protest isn't even the suboptimal pay, it's the fact that he will not even talk to them about it.
Well, yeah,
and if you bring it up, you get fired.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I agree with that part. The only thing I agree with is that the meetings, I mean, it's shit. It's just trash because it feels like you're kind of baiting and stretching, right? Like you say, oh, a problem exists, let's talk about it, and you delay it while they're still working. So yeah, then I agree with that 100%. As soon as that happened, I said, yeah, that's shit because you shouldn't be doing that. I just felt like it was hard to have the conclusion because what is this like LA based?
Yeah, so Dharman Studios is LA based, yeah. So they have 3 sound stages in Burbank, I believe.
Okay. So it felt to me that, LA rent is it's a disaster.
True,
so I was like,
yeah.
okay, well, rent's probably really fucking high, right? And based on the hours, I saw a lot of employees over there. There's a lot, they protesting, a lot of them were over there, right? And I was like, well, if the concern is that they can't pay rent and they're contractors, right? I'm like, but there might be people that are over there. How much hours could they be realistically be putting in? And I'd be like, well, of course you can't pay rent of the salary of this one YouTube channel's like intermittent appearances. I mean, there's not much you can do here. Like,
yeah, so I think I see what's going. I think you're under the impression that what they're looking for is a like full-time job salary to cover everything. As I understand it, that's
well, considering they say we can't even pay our rent. Like, yeah, that's kind of the claim that they're making. So that's why people are coming to that conclusion. That's why it makes sense. First of all, again, it's good that they're advocating for themselves. That's why you can't really speculate too much on it because you have no idea the specifics of their situation.
not really the case. So
Because we also don't know how much like somebody who's just like a fill-in versus somebody who's consistently been there for how many years is getting paid. We have no details on anything.
all of these people, they are contractors. They're not employees. They're not allowed to be employees for Dharman. But so they have other job opportunities, I imagine, other income sources.
The highest paid actors, the old school ones, were making $25 an hour. Oh, that's not that bad though, is it? I mean, I guess they could be making more,
But the pay that they're receiving from Dharman is not industry standard, and it's not acceptable for the amount of work they're putting in. Like the amount of hours they're doing with their work for him is not being compensated fairly by Darman. That's where the issue stems from.
What makes it? I mean, okay. Then the thing's point. Say if they're contractors, did they agree to a contract? What happened in between the fact? What happened in between the time that they signed for something that they're gonna be?
Well, yeah, and so that's the problem. Okay, something like that. So now XQC's talking about, yeah, but they agreed to it. It's like, yeah, they did, because obviously they need work. And the problem is like they've already stated, if they apparently speak out against the conditions, they get fired. So it makes it very difficult when you're in a situation where, like, let's say these actors are trying to make money and they have a part-time, they have another job, and plus they make Darman videos. Probably what's happening. If they're under threat of being fired, if they bring up an issue, then they're not really agreeing to it in, like, I would say, fair terms. They're just being fired. So it's kind of shitty. So it's like they're forced to like take the pay. Yeah. So
be paid a certain amount for a certain amount of hours, and then why are they upset now? Is because the channel's more successful and there's more money to be made, but they're not getting a portion of it that they think it's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, in my opinion, the way I feel about it, if I'm coming into a job as a contractor and they're telling me, hey, you're gonna be paid $20 an hour and you're working 8 hours a week flat, right? That's all I can offer you, right? And I say yes. Well, I have to come with terms with the fact that I'll be paid $20 an hour, 8 hours a week flat, and it's already right. If that's not adequate for me anymore, right? Well, I quit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the people having this conversation, like XQC, is just like a rich person that apparently has never struggled in his life or understands like basic work anythings.
Well, so that's the stage they're reaching, but they're not quitting. They're getting fired for trying to negotiate. So as this has scaled up, the productions have scaled up. He's releasing multiple videos a week. Their hours have scaled up, but their contracts and their pay haven't reflected the extra work that's going into it. But instead of being able to talk about it to, like, negotiate a more fair pay, a better rate for their work, he's just firing them or refusing to talk to them.
Well, I didn't see that. I wish there was like a video explaining that. So, from what I saw, I think this comes from a position where you know more than the video that's on. Because what I'm getting in the video, I don't have enough to make these conclusions. I just don't. Like.
Oh, the video I watched had all this information included. Where did he? It sounds like XQC has no idea what he's talking about. It sounds like he read like he heard that this was happening. And he did zero looking into it and then decided that he wanted to have a debate about it. What the fuck?
Even the guy talking, what he's saying, I don't agree with the face value.
Okay.
About
maybe just kind of like, well, I watched the Jarvis Gold video on it. It was a really good video. And then I made a really good thumbnail, by the way, guys. Okay. I put more work into my content last night than I ever have before. All right. I want to show you my thumbnail. Look at this. I'll show you my thumbnail. Okay, actually, I'll show you better. Here, I'll just give you
So when he says, like, we're taking on all these hours, we're taking on these jobs for Darman, but we can't afford to even have this, like...
Check this out. Boom. Greedy boss underpays his employees. Papa gut. It looks so good. Tell me that this doesn't look good. Come on. I did a good job here. Okay, I thought that this was funny. Go watch my video. Just for the thumbnail. I did an excellent job on this, okay?
Help with our rent. That's not like an alarming thing for you to hear, because I think even just taking it at face value, it's like, you would think for something this successful with this many appearances throughout all of this content that's generating this level of income on the back of their talent that's been there since the start, you would think that they'd be on some kind of good payment system.
Yeah, you'd think that just from a human level. Let's not even talk about from like an infrastructure level. Just from a human level, you'd think that Darman would want to pay these people better because like they're his employees that you should respect and be like, yeah, you know what? I have the money. I want to pay them better. Oh.
Right? Like, wouldn't you try and draw that conclusion?
Thank you. Excellent.
Like, for example,
thank you.
This is a stupid comparison, but I'm going to go big here. And I think for Darman, it's kind of fair. Someone like Steve is a star. In the same way that Robert Downey Jr. was a star for Marvel. Would you expect him to be working for the same pay as that continued to scale up as he was at the beginning? Because I think the answer should be no.
So the problem with the comparison that he's making here is that Robert Downey Jr. is a good actor and this guy Steve isn't. And I like Steve a lot, but Robert Downey Jr. is first of all, a movie infrastructure that puts him in like high demand. Steve is not in that. Steve is an actor for cringe Darman videos that require low effort and low skilled actors and actresses to be able to perform. And in fact, it hinges on that. I don't think that there's a robust enough community. Then there are Darman copycats, but it's not like robust enough where you would be able to get another job offer. Oh, I can't do this video, Darman. I'm doing this. You know, like these people aren't people enough. They're not like they're not they're not people. They're not entities, like entertainment entities that have weight to be carried in the way that somebody like fucking Robert Downey Jr. is. Steve was in Better Call Saul. Was he really? No. That'd be crazy. Well, good for him. Then he's used that Darman to get into Better Call Saul.
Oh, wait. That was complicated. Wait, the what?
Darman's content has been built off the back of the same actors and actresses at the same rate without ever scaling up as everything else is scaled up. Much in the same way that Marvel scaled up from Robert Downey Jr., thus they needed to pay him more as things went on and his hours increased, his workload increased. That's just the way things work as they grow.
Okay, no. That is not, okay, so that is a terrible comparison. Sorry to cook you on this one. Because that's what we call in this trade leverage. In that.
But they can't do that. They can't because he's shutting it down.
Exactly.
He's firing them.
No, but that's not the leverage issue. The leverage is like Steve isn't desirable enough in the industry, and there's not enough industry infrastructure to make Steve a more desirable person to work for. From like the human level, like they should get paid more, but it's not the same as Robert Downey Jr. when you're seeing like how many movies get made a year, you know what I mean, versus how many. Well, I guess just as many as Darman videos, right? Overall, but there isn't as much money to be made. There isn't like this big infrastructure. If there was a competing cringe Darman type style that was going on that could poach actors and actresses, which there probably could be, if somebody wanted to try hard enough for it, somebody could probably make a competing Darman. This would be the time to do it. This would be the time to make your own Darman Industries, like Darman competitor industries, right? Then though, that would increase his worth because Darman would be like, I'm only going to give you $100 for this video, and then the guy could be like, well, I got offered $200 from Mardan, so I'm going to go work for them. And then all of a sudden, Darman's like, fuck, this guy brings in the views when I make my videos. I need to hire him. I'm going to pay. Like that's kind of how that would work, but that infrastructure doesn't exist.
They have no leverage. That's how it is. Of course, Robert Downey Jr., he shows himself to be a better actor. He's more needed. So therefore, he can only get a certain roles per amount of year. So his value, right, it increases. So then he can use the other films as leverage, right, against his current person that wants him to stay and say, yo, dude, if I spend my time over there, I'll be making double money. So I'm worth this much right now, right? When I pay that, you can pay that, right? Otherwise, I'm not working here anymore, right? These guys have no leverage, right? He could, Darman on paper could literally go to Craigslist and get anybody to show up for fucking $80.
True.
Right? And that person will show up and we'll do the work that these guys are putting in, and we'll probably get the same amount of results with the amount of the quality of acting that is in those videos.
Yeah, true. I think part of the problem is that these guys should just give up acting because it's not their calling. I'm sorry, that's so mean, but I'm not a good actor either. So
yeah, but that's also not the point. Like he could find 15 high school students to do it for free, but does that make it right or fair to the actors? That's more the argument, not so much like can it get done with people that are lesser.
This will be like exploitator behavior answer. I think that's still fine. If they say they want to do it, and say yeah, then fuck it. It's like if I'm unpacking something in my car, so he said, and some fucking, I don't know, some like adolescent shows up, like 16-year-old dude is like, hey, you need help with that? I'm like, yeah, right? I mean, he agreed to help her free, right? I mean, I don't own.
Okay, but like now we're in a conversation. If you're just like on the side of the road and someone decides to like help you pack your car for free because they see that you're old or something, it's a little bit different than an actual job.
Shit.
Yeah, Samir Bhavnadi can jump the fuck on this right now, make these videos and be like, I'll pay you more and pull them over. Especially with the controversy going on. Samir could be like, oh, I see that you're underpaying people. I'm going to pay you better. Come on over here. We're going to make some videos. And then make a video that's like fucking asshole boss underpays their work staff. You'll never guess what happens in the end. It could work.
Even if I made him lift the fucking diamond worth 20 mil, I have to pay him shit, right? If somebody agrees to do something for a certain rate or something, which is in that scenario free, right? Well, I mean, yeah, I'll take it. I mean, when I was a kid, I did acting for some college students like 4 times for free. They only like give me fucking like a lunch, something like that. I agreed to that. I was okay with that. I didn't feel scammed.
Well, yeah, but okay, that doesn't matter because based on the argument of the actors, they're saying we grew at this business when it was small, and now that it's big, they have the finances to give us more money. You're talking about how you once did a show for some fucking kids in high school or college or whatever, and they gave you lunch. It's like, yeah, because they were small and they didn't have money to give you, and then they got. So like your argument doesn't make any sense.
That's kind of how I feel about it. And if I want to go into a contract where certain hours, like if these guys were like let on and they would be paid more, and they got scammed, it's a whole different ball game. If they agree something, they don't agree. If they got promised something that the employer doesn't, and they don't agree with the pay anymore, well, that's on them.
Okay.
Well,
right?
Yeah, but at this point, you're making arguments for finding like the lowest possible payment for the same work. Like at this point, you're like almost making a sweatshop argument. Like, why pay for these workers when I can just pay
true.
like almost nothing for these workers? It's not like, I mean, the work gets done, but I mean, is a sweatshop a good thing?
Okay, that's not a good thing. The government protects in this country against sweatshops, right?
Okay.
The government has stuff that goes. It's why the sweatshops exist. Is that they go into other countries where laws are different, and then they zone it out, and then people work under circumstances, under a pay, under hours that wouldn't fly in the United States, right? But we are in the United States in this case,
Okay.
right? So they're protected by certain things, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely protections in place, 100%.
So I just don't feel like, without getting the exact numbers, I can take these guys' arguments at face value without like actually.
That's a fair thing to say, but it sounds like he doesn't know too much about what's going on here. He's inserting himself into the a little too much, but okay.
At least some sort of data, and then make a conclusion.
Epic capitalism moment, motherfucker.
It's very bad. I feel like this is like, I don't know. Except for the part where he doesn't show the
Eggy
meetings.
to 9 billion super chatted $1.99. You and Charlie would be a cool friendship.
You know, in the future, it will happen. I'm just letting you know. We'll become friendly, maybe even friends. He seems like a nice, normal person on the internet, which is refreshing. Instead of a terminally online person. But we're not there yet, guys. We haven't even broken 20K yet. Okay, we have to build our value so that we can approach the Dhar man of the internet, MoistCr1tikal, for a fair rate. Okay. Am I gonna fucking lose? Okay, no, I'm not.
It's fucking lame as shit.
Incredible.
Okay. I feel like I've done the same by accident or because of lack of professionalism to my editors. Where I've like I said, yo, yeah, I'll be around like in a minute, and I don't talk to them for like a day, a week, sometimes it's fucking 2 months. I don't talk to these motherfuckers. But bro.
I don't know.
It's like lack of professionalism, right? Like it happens sometimes. Like I don't think it's a massive problem. Okay, but I'm not putting myself in the equation. I just feel like, except for that part, which is bad. Right? It's bad. It's bad to not show up to your meetings and be baited like that.
Okay.
I fail to see what the problem is.
So I'll try and like.
But did he just say it was bad, but he fails to see what the problem is?
It's bad. It's bad to not show up to your meetings. I just feel like, except for that part, which is bad. Right? It's bad. It's bad to not show up to your meetings.
Oh, he's saying it's bad to not show up to your meetings. He doesn't see a problem. Yeah, so like that part's just kind of insult to injury. You know, you have a bunch of workers that are working for you for a long time. And they're like, hey, I want to set up a meeting because we feel like we're not getting treated very well. And you don't even show up to the meeting. It's kind of a slap in the face. I mean, he could have just been busy. He could have had other things going on, blah, 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 blah. But it comes off as very disrespectful to people who have helped create like what you have going on there.
Like in this wheelhouse, you mentioned editors. Do you have the same editors now as you did when you, let's say, do you have the same editors now as you did last year?
I've had one editor from when the channel was nothing to something, and I hired somebody. I had on top now I have two, and the new guy has taken the something to something greater because of combined workload and different philosophies, right? So now we have two, but they've been there pretty much for the whole ride. When it was making nothing, to a little bit, to a lot, right?
So the guy that started when you were nothing, is he being paid right now what he was when you were making nothing?
Oh, he's being paid more with a agreed upon adaptive pay of 15%.
Okay, but you see like how that pay has increased, and he's been there from the beginning as it grew. Like you see that.
Yeah, but that's because
You said 15%?
okay, so I said it's adaptive, right? Because I want them to be motivated to do more and do better, and to like keep up with like in the industry and how it's going. Like if they
Yeah, but that's a good argument towards like why Dhar man should pay more, because he should want to appreciate his workers and want them to do more and do better. So
work more, they're paid more. I feel like this is a different ball game. These people are contracted.
the only difference is that XQC wants the best for his editors, and Dhar man doesn't want the best for his actors. Because really, like a good actor would actually ruin a Dhar man video. All jokes aside, it needs to be corny, cheesy bullshit. It's part of the atmosphere. It would almost pull you out of it if it was like a real good actor, you know.
Something, and they do it very bad, right?
Well, okay, so bad by like our definitions of the acting is cringy, but they are doing exactly what they're paid to and exactly as directed. Steve Collin, he is an actor outside of Dhar man. He's been in Better Call Saul. He's had minor roles in bigger things. Like
He was in Better Call Saul. Wow. Well, did he get in there? because of that. What was his role in that? As like, what did he do? I imagine it was like an extra or something.
An actor.
Okay.
Like
Maybe I'm wrong.
They are doing the work as they are supposed to do it, the way they're supposed to do it.
sneeze.
They're not doing a bad job. It's not like he's docking their pay because their performance is bad. Sorry, I had a burp in my mouth. Like, they are doing exactly what they need to be doing. So this isn't a matter of like them being bad at their jobs.
Yeah, exactly. So if the guy, so this guy has Better Call Saul tier jobs and other ones, and then he still works for the Darman cringe guy, right? Then why doesn't he quit that job if his time is more valuable now?
Well, I mean,
because I don't think that he's it's good for him getting on Better Call Saul, better actor than any of us, of course. But I imagine it wasn't like this super big, like prolific role or anything. He was probably just chilling as an extra, and possibly him being on Darman gives him like, yeah, I've been in like 40 YouTube videos for an incredibly successful blah 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 blah. I'm not saying Darman shouldn't pay them more. I'm just saying that there's still benefits to what he's doing.
Getting fired because they're trying to negotiate. Like, as it grew, they are proud of the work. They were there from the beginning. Colin told the story about how
I was XQC. Darman should just fire all those actors, get new ones, and pay them even less, and call it Darman Season 2. Incredible.
Original Darman videos were filmed at his apartment complex in a garage, this and that. And then as it grew, they wanted to stick with it because they felt like part of the team, part of the family. It's reached the point where over the last however long, they've tried to negotiate better pay because they're putting in so much more work. So many more hours. Obviously, the product is a lot better, but he's not letting them negotiate instead of adjusting pay or listening. He's firing them. Like, on the spot, just firing them.
Fair enough. Okay, then okay. You know what? Fuck it. I have a different argument that will maybe make you feel like scaling up could be a problem.
What?
But scaling down. What happens if
It's like scaling up a business?
Darman gets canceled or some shit, right? Because he I don't know, he pierced allegedly somebody's car tire with a piece of glass. Okay.
What?
And then now the channel, okay, makes 2K views a month. Should their pay be scaled down?
Yes. Yes. That like, okay, so the fundamental concept here is like, hey, what if this incredibly hyper successful business fails? That's why they shouldn't have to pay them more money. What are you talking about? Like, that's like, yeah, Amazon should be able to pay people like below minimum wages because like one day they might not be a really big company anymore. It's a bad argument. It's just a stupid argument.
That'd be a negotiation between them and the actors. That'd be a communication thing. Yeah, that'd be entirely up to them. But so, for example, let's say you have a colossal fall off. You get canceled. Your fucking nutsack butthole pics leak on Twitter, whatever. You get canceled. Your channel's
I don't even think that would help him. I just don't think that would hurt him. Wouldn't matter for
not
him.
making anything anymore. Are you going to stop paying your editor?
Well, the pay's adaptive. Something if they want to work, they can. But I mean, they'll be editing hour-long videos for like 20 cents an hour on average. So I mean, they will quit, and they should, right? They should. They should leave me to dry because that's how the world works, right? We agree to something, and it currently works for both of us. So it doesn't work anymore. Well, now they quit because they're not paid anymore. They should throw me under the bus in terms of like financially.
But again, the biggest issue for these actors is that like, hey, you can pay us better. Please consider paying us more. It's not that like they just can't. There's no like resource that exists. That's what it is. So
people that I hire, right? I expect them to throw me under the bus, right? When things get bad and go bad, the same way I expect myself.
It's not throwing somebody under the bus to not work for them anymore. Throwing somebody under the bus is to like go out and like be like, I hate this person. They did this to me.
To throw them under the bus when shit gets bad. I think it's called business. It's called business relationships.
But like when you say it this way, do you realize like the more you say things like this, the more it seems like you are legitimately having the same thought process as the people who end up using like sweatshops, slave labor, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, pretty
You're
much.
looking for the cheapest way of getting the labor done in the quickest time possible without caring about like actually doing the work the right way, which is like the core problem, like the core issue, which is what the whole thing was about. Like, you are right. You could find it's fucking 12, 16-year-olds in the Darman cinematic universe to play these roles, and they do it for free. They do it for exposure. But that's not a good thing. That should never be the case. You should want to like pay the actors and the professionals the standard rate to do the work and do the work well.
Sure.
It's not an argument of can it be done cheaper. It's an argument of why can't we just do it the right way?
I agree.
I mean, I think that the Darman's best solution could be to like work with whatever acting union, and then boom, he doesn't really have to worry about it anymore. He could just worry about them like negotiating from that perspective. Probably be a lot better, you know.
But if somebody agrees to for a certain amount, and they say, wow, I'm worth more money. Well, I don't give a fuck. I don't want Leonardo DiCaprio a performance, okay? I don't want a better call performance from the guy in the video, David, what the fuck. I want Craig's level acting for Craig's level videos. And if they make a little more money, well, I took the risk initially, right? I'm the one who owns the business. I should own the profits.
No, right. So like there is a really good argument for why Darman should get paid like well, because he's taking the risk. He's building the infrastructure. Absolutely. And why he should get paid more, because he takes the risk. He developed the infrastructure. He's he's paying all the people. It's out of his pocket originally. He's having people like translate into other things. He's putting the work in to create the YouTube. He's putting in like a lot of work, and now maybe he isn't so much, but he's hired other people to be able to put into that work. He should get paid more than the actors. Absolutely, he owns the business, but it's how much more should he get paid is the question. You know what I mean? If Darman's making fucking $10 million a year and it would cost him, I don't know, $100,000 to pay all of his people better over the course of that year, like I'd say maybe he should make that, he should maybe take the pay cut. You know what I mean? Like maybe he should. That's really what it comes down to.
There's no obligation for you to pay him more, but to at least hear them out as it's scaled up, like, hey, I'm putting in more work, I'm putting in more hours for the same pay as it was in the beginning.
I'm assuming that they put in more work and more hours for pay proportionate to their work. And what I mean by that is like, let's say they were, it's like, oh, you'll get, let's just say they would get paid like, or at least I'd hope like $10 an hour. And like they used to only work an hour, now they work 10 hours. They're probably still getting paid at $10 an hour. It's more about, they could be getting paid more than that because what they're doing is making exponentially more money.
I would like to at least talk about a pay raise, hearing them out and then negotiating from there is how it should work. And it's not, which is a core issue here.
Is that hours only? Because I would have just blocked them. But it makes a lot of sense, though.
I think XQC's best argument here could be this. This is the best. This is probably the best argument you can make from like XQC's point is like, were they? I don't know how to say it. Were they making any less at the beginning? Like, okay, because let's say they were getting paid at the beginning. Yeah, they're probably not. Like, did they specifically agree to take less money because they would like get more money if it became more of a successful project? I don't know if I'm articulating this very well. That's probably the best argument you could say, because then you could be like, well, they didn't put in any risk. They didn't take less money because they wanted to build with us. They just took, or for like the agreement that it would get better as the time goes on. I feel like I'm not communicating this point very well. I'm just going to move on from it.
You sound like an absolute ruthless warlord out here. Dude, my heart is breaking for your editors. You're going to have one bad month and they're not going to be eating for fucking 2 weeks. Good God.
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay. I was joking about that, but I feel like, of course, when things are good, okay, and I'm happy with how things are going and how the creative, let's say, shift that I see, I don't mind giving a bonus to some of the editors. Bro, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong about this. Yo, they doesn't chat, my videos. He doesn't even fucking talk about pants anymore. So I'm pretty sure that all my second, third, fourth, all the other channels, he's paying himself, okay? Dude, so I don't think I've paid him for the main channel because he's paying himself with the other channels, okay? And you know what? And that's fair game, okay? That's fair. I haven't paid, I'm not kidding. I haven't paid him for the main channel in forever because he's paying himself with the other channel, right? So what if sometimes he does these new things like making new channels, doing other shit, and he creates value, right? And that's valuable. It's adaptive, right? They can do more.
I have no fucking idea what they're talking about right now. This guy just makes other channels because XQC doesn't pay him, is that what he's saying?
I'll give him a bonus, or I'll give more, and that's fine, right? But the problem I have with this is that, unfortunately, let's say, right, $100 an hour, right, 10 hours a week, a scam, right? Personally, we make it. Let's say, let's say, no, $100. Okay, $100 an hour, right, for these dudes. Let's say, okay, but I can only give them 4 hours a week. Okay, so they're being paying $400 a week, which is in fact $1,600 for the month. They live in LA, right? They can't afford rent, and then they're like,
okay,
"Yo, bro,
I
we
see
can't
what
afford
you're
rent."
saying. I see what you're saying now.
Well, if they agreed to 4 hours, if they agreed to 100 an hour, 4 hours a week, then what can I do, right? They agreed to the terms. And they agreed to the pay and the workload. They do that.
He went in like the wrong direction. I thought he was going with like, what if Darman's paying them well, but he's just not giving them enough hours? And I was like, okay, good point. But then he just went back to, you agreed to it, so it's just a weak point.
They're paid. What's the problem? You don't enjoy it anymore. You don't want to do it anymore. We don't have to.
Well, even in your examples, like you're receptive. Well, except for the 2 times you threatened to block them, I guess you're receptive to hearing them, right? So if that guy came to you, he's like, "Hey, I was fine with this in the beginning, but now, like, I really can't afford rent, and I am putting in a lot of hours. Could I maybe talk to you about an increase in pay?" That is not happening right now with the Dharman actors. They can't get to that step.
Well, at that point, I do making a lot of money. His time is worth a lot of money. And if I doesn't want to fucking deal with that shit, but I agree. Okay.
It might be true.
Yeah, I agree though. I didn't agree. That is at least I try to talk to them. Okay. But yeah,
I'm surprised. We really need Hassan to weigh in on this, guys. That's who we need to weigh in. He's supposed to be the guy. He's supposed to be the communism guy, okay? Why aren't you advocating for these workers' rights, Hassan?
I don't really know. Like, let's say you work at Amazon and it's good pay. I'm pretty sure Amazon's good pay, isn't it? It's like decent, right? How much is Amazon an hour?
I mean, it depends on the position.
Yeah. 15 to 20 bucks an hour. That's pretty good.
Okay.
What's not? 17.50.
I'm gonna throw you a little.
It depends on where you're working. Like in New York, 1750 is a little rough. The problem too is that like what Amazon will do is they will contract outside of Amazon to drive for Amazon. It's hard to express. And now maybe things have changed, but this is my understanding of how these work. So what they'll do, and you can see these on Indeed and stuff, I see them all the time, is that it's like, oh, they might pay well. But then what they do is they contract people outside, and they can do the same thing on factories, by the way. I used to date somebody who used to be a contracted worker. They didn't work for the factory. They worked for the contractor that like hired them for the factory. It's very interesting. And what they do is then like, it's like, oh, well, we pay our people really well, but then they'll use a lot of their staff are people that are on like some kind of contract. So last time I looked, I believe the contract was something where you would drive and it equated to $15 an hour, 40 hours a week, but the driving time actually equated to like 50 or 60 hours, right? So they were like 10-hour days or something like that. And so like you're not really getting paid 15 an hour anymore. With that overtime cut, you're really getting paid like $12 an hour to drive a bunch of packages for 10 hours a day. And so like they'll use these different kind of like scumfuck tactics to be able to do that. Now, that's the last time I checked. Things might have changed, but I really wouldn't doubt they would still be engaging in that scumfuck practice. And it's like, should they pay them better? Absolutely. If they can, why shouldn't they pay them better?
Little life raft here. I don't think Amazon is the best comparison for this situation. I'm just going to be honest straight up. So let's dial it back more into like editing and stuff like that. I think that's going to be a lot stronger of a like platform to tackle it on.
You're better off talking about Starbucks because Starbucks, like the workers have just been trying to unionize. And they've been apparently they've been closing down. They say it's for safety concerns, but they were closing down. Specifically, they closed down like one of the Starbucks that was like the first to try to unionize, and like health and safety concerns. And so now, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that they're closing them down as a way to shut them the fuck up so they don't have to unionize. The store sales might not be doing amazingly, and so they're like, you know what, it's not worth the hassle. People are asking for more money, and we're not getting amazing sales. Maybe we're doing better than breaking even, but it's just not worth it. And like that feels like a threat of like firing you if you speak up. So
you have to also keep in mind these people aren't just doing grunt work.
Yeah, see, I'm a driver. I work for a contractor, not Amazon. 19 an hour. Okay, well that's good. That's not too bad. Do you make 19 an hour, or do you make? How do they monitor your work time? Do you get paid $19 an hour, or do you get paid what equates to $19 an hour if you were to work 8 hours a day? Or do you get paid $19 an hour based on estimated trip time? Because those are all questions, right? Some places will pay you based on estimated trip time, and of course, the fucking computer thinks that you can do it like much faster than you actually can.
They are the principal actors in his content. Without them, there is no content unless he finds other actors to replace them. But since he's using them, they are the reasons the videos exist. They're not playing some like behind the scenes role. They're a big part of it. So they should be able to at least communicate with the person when it's like, hey, I'm putting in all these hours, I'm putting all this work, the pay hasn't changed at all, I'm still on like that very baseline, very underpaid rate that we agreed to in the beginning because, we were both small together, but now we've both grown together. I'd like to at least examine this and see if, since I'm putting in all this extra work and, we're in this good of a spot, maybe we could talk about some kind of better pay system.
Fair enough. In my answer to that, show up and say, no.
So then it's kind of more of like
he's just an asshole. Dharman at worst is just an asshole.
Disagreement then, because I feel like the answer should be, sure, let's examine it. Let's talk about it together instead of just fire them on the spot because they asked.
Okay. I guess that'll be the only part that I don't agree with the whole thing. It's the fact that these guys have disagreements, and these guys have disagreements, and they won't be addressed. I think that is the only thing that, because the rest of it, I have no data, I have no I have no, I guess not story, I guess timeline of things. I know nothing about any of this, and the video doesn't give me any of this either. That's just
What video did XQC watch?
like impossible to really understand the concern and take for face value, because I don't like believing in just what is said, right? Straight up. Like the guy says, yo dude, I'm not being paid, and the guy ends up being paid like $200 an hour, right? Like, I'm gonna feel like my team is wrong, and now I'm a dumbass.
Sure, I understand what he's saying. I think that also, though, we can consider that they said that they are not part of like the union, and they're getting paid less than like what would the industry standard be. So you can make a reasonable assumption that they're not getting paid that much an hour. So.
I have to, unfortunately, it's like guilty until proven innocent. Oh, I believe what he says, right? If I'm wrong about it, we'll have another take. Well, not really. I'd like to be given all the info that I need from the get-go, make a take, and be my take is final.
To me, this sounds almost more like you're afraid of looking silly if it turns out new information comes to light.
Yeah, it is exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Of course, because I will not be.
Which is fair, yeah. This is fair, but
There's really nothing wrong.
the problem is that like I think I feel like I had a decent take on it. That was pretty like in the midline fair. XQC is just leaning towards agreeing with Darman. It's not like he's like, oh, I don't really know what's going on. This is really bad if it's true. He's just basically like constantly giving reasons why Darman should be able to engage in the behavior, and then backing off and saying and trying to pretend to be reasonable when he's like, I just don't have all the information. But like he's already kind of made his judgment that he doesn't give a shit. So
Being in that position though, as long as you're like willing to change, like that's a supernatural thing people go through. Like for example, Helena Taylor.
Charlie. No, I disagree. Charlie, you disagree with yourself now. Okay, if you were half canceled overnight, the dumbest shit, the damage caused by what was said, you would never be able to recover past the point where you were.
listen, no offense, XQC is not valued for his commentary. I'm just like, XQC is a meme. All right, and I'm not. That's not a criticism. I'm not saying, but like, first of all, mistakes happen, and you should understand that. But second of all, XQC, I don't think XQC could get canceled. I mean, I'm not trying to be an asshole. Nobody values XQC for his commentary. He's kind of like a little bit of like a lolcow, not like a horrible one, but he's a little bit of a meme. So if he got something wrong, nobody would care. Because it's just XQC. He's kind of silly. People listen to him because he speaks funny and he can barely form a sentence. Okay, I don't know. It's not. There's really no threat of cancellation for him. So okay.
It would take you way more time, way more effort, way more strength and willingness to power through. You know for a fact, this is some shit about you, right? Okay, people say question mark. Okay, what about Johnny Depp?
What?
You guys feel like his reputation went back to normal or better with his industry and his bosses and with people?
That's
a hell of a cancellation. Are you doing something online what Johnny Depp was accused of initially? Which, by the way, it just boils down to a toxic relationship. But are you that's a little extra, no? But okay.
a huge leap going from hey, these workers, I hope they can talk to their boss about a higher pay for all the work they've done when they're still not getting good pay, all the way to a Johnny Depp situation. That's a total extreme. What you're doing right now is opining on a situation, not actively participating. You're not the one that's slapping the Dhar Man actors while they're doing their protest or anything. The fear of being proven wrong with later information seems to be clouding the way you're approaching the problem itself, which is these people are doing more work now than they previously did and still getting suboptimal pay because they couldn't afford to pay them that much at the time. Thus, it didn't matter how much more work they put in, they're still getting the same pay. And anytime they bring it up, they get fired, which is just a straight up problem. And that's why it's become an issue. It's why none of them work for Dhar Man anymore, because they've all been fired for bringing it up.
That's as far as this guy will say it. But has there been data of that people say? Because that's a pretty big claim to say.
It's not one guy. It's every actor. So every principal actor from most of Dhar Man's videos have been in these protests and have come out and said the same thing, corroborating all of it.
Yeah, but are they all white? Because white people are always complaining about the success of non-white people. So if you think about it, Dhar Man's just I said this before. Dhar Man is just reversing white privilege. He's oppressing the whiteys, and I think that's time for white people to feel oppressed.
The only thing they haven't released is the salaries, because again, that's not That's not information we even really need to know.
Well, we would need to know fully to make like a full point on it, but it's very professional of them to not release it while they're in some or trying to get into some kind of like a negotiation contract with Darman. The problem with this is that if this is the biggest issue with what they're doing for them, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing it, but if this doesn't work out, if Darman just like bunkers down and doesn't give a shit, and it all blows over, which it probably will, because like there aren't exactly the highest expectations on what's happening, and a lot of the viewers aren't even like English speaking. They have like a lot of people from like other countries they translate for, so this isn't going to necessarily like put much of a damper on his market. People are going to get over it, and they're just not going to care anymore, and it's not going to become like this massive controversy that people think it is. So
the problem is they can't talk to him, so they're doing a protest because they want to be able to talk to him to negotiate that number. That's the whole purpose of it. They're mentioning the pay because, well, we want to talk to him about pay and he won't let us. So it becomes a talking point, but the actual figure isn't what they're rioting about. It's wanting that communication to talk about it instead of just being fired for trying to.
Yeah, I mean, I do see how that's a problem. So like I said, I think that's a problem. I feel like the conclusion people make from that problem, right? And going public about it just can sometimes cause a bit of damage, and I wouldn't want to be put in that position. That's all. But I agree that the wrong here is not talking, right? But I think that they're being assumed or talked about, and without being proven, I think kind of suck. I think they just suck. Be saying, "Yo, guys, we're not paid enough. We're not this or that," right? I think it'd be pretty easy to show, right? They're gonna go public about how much it is, how much we're talking, industry standard, give it a context. Taking it for the story that it is, when you have all the ammo, it's like in an argument like this, it's like loading in your mag, right? That could have bullets and having no bullets in the mag, right? You have all the ammo you need, like the hours that were required for you, the salary you were given, and then the industry standard. Then you fire that, you win, right? Then your point comes across, and everybody understands you. If you say, "Yo, guys, I'm not paid enough. Lol, I can't pay rent. Lol." If you talk, you're fired. Lol. Well, I didn't see any proof of that at all anywhere. So how?
Lol.
How can I make a good take about this?
Well, because that's not the point of the thing. Again,
like, okay, so you're right. These people could all be lying. It's unlikely, though, that the entire coalition of fucking Darman actors, or popular ones, are coming forward and saying, like, "Yo, I'm treated like kind of like shit. I'm not getting paid well, rather. It kind of sucks. Hey, what the fuck? Can you pay us better?" And like, I don't think that they would be lying. They could be, and it makes sense to be like skeptical. Like I said, like a little bit skeptical, but like overall I believe that they're not paid well enough. I just don't know what the specifics are. It's not. We're not seeing skepticism from XQC. We're seeing disagreement with what's going on with them, and he's fighting that tooth and nail, and then walking back to what he feels is a more reasonable point.
Them not being able to, it's not like they're surprised. You're right. They're contractors. They knew what they were getting paid going into it. They want, since this is scaled up so much, to talk about altering that pay. Just like you've mentioned the word adaptive. Like, you've used the word adaptive a lot when talking about your editors. They would like to adapt their pay to the more work they put in, and they're not able to, which is why they're doing this. It's not, they are not caught off guard. They are not surprised by what they're getting paid. They did agree to it, but they would like to talk about changing it around a bit more to reflect the scale and reflect how much they've put in. Like, I think there's a big disconnect on the core problem that you're overlooking here. It's not so much, I have to take their word that they can't afford rent and they're eating fucking cat food. It's, okay, they'd like to change their pay and they're getting fired for even mentioning it. That's the issue. It's not, like, you don't need, if you don't believe...
Well, I mean, I actually see you could fire back and say, like, okay, but, like, who got fired then? Like, who are the people that got fired for asking about pay because they never proved that? You know, like, that would be his next thing to bring out.
That they're not getting paid enough, that's fine. Because that's not the issue. It's they can't even talk about it without getting fired.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to say it, I feel like the result of the product is irrelevant if the quality expected from the workers is the same as the quality was expected initially. Okay? If I want you, okay, to spit in my face for $100 an hour right now, right? You do that, you spit on it, bang, 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 bang. But then it becomes an art form, and now I'm making it $1 billion a year from the pictures of my face with spit on it. Should you be paid more? I disagree 100%.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. It's so silly. I understand what he's saying, and he has like a decent point. I just feel like, first of all, when it comes to spit on the face, I can't really give you a real world understanding of that because that's not really a job. That's weird, a kink. But more than that, what I would say is like, you know, I think it's a good, whether you think it should be legal or not is a different question. I think it would be a good thing if a business was able to make more money providing a thing, and they had workers that work with them from the start, that if they appreciated them by paying them more, right? That's what I would say. I think it's a good thing to do, you know? So yeah.
You are under no obligation to pay me more for spitting in your face. This is what a wild example. You're
True.
under no obligation to pay me more for spitting in your face or tongue punching you or whatever. But if I approached you like, hey, this is scaled up a lot, I'm spitting in your face a lot. Can we at least talk?
Yeah, I'm spitting in your face for 10 hours a day. Okay.
Talk about
I'm running out of saliva.
maybe getting me on some kind of different deal. I would expect you to not spit in my face and kick me out of the fucking door for even asking. And then you replace me with someone else whose spit isn't nearly as viscous or something, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I guess if you valued viscosity, then yeah, sure.
that's how it should work.
I will agree with half of the video then, because I have enough information to know that there's an ongoing problem and a unwillingness to fix a problem, but I cannot agree with the actual specifics and the semantics about what the problem is. And I think it's a lot of conclusions without giving a lot of things to the people.
Bro, I
It's a lot
cannot
of
get
going
the, I
not
need
enough,
one, I need a
actual
fucking
raw
gun,
material
like a
to
special
make a
gun
conclusion from.
to
That's
complete
all.
this, but I can't get it.
So you mean by I think I understand. I think you just hung on not knowing how much they're getting paid.
Yeah, because when you go public, Charlie, when you go public about something, okay, you are going to war, okay? Because the second you make something public, you are causing damage every minute, every hour, something is public. And if you are in the Republic and you are in that war, you best fucking believe that you come in armed with your fucking helmet on and your gun fucking loaded, okay?
So this is like a very terminally online take, okay? I understand what he's saying, but like, no, in a real world setting, that's not how you operate. So like, let's say for instance, like I worked at like a company and it wasn't like, the thing is like the Dhar Man company is like an online company. Let's say I worked for a company and like I went public with a grievance that I had with other people. Like I talked to like a, you know, a union rep or something. I don't have to go guns blazing and start going around and giving out all the information to everybody that I ever see. They're saying we have a fundamental problem and we want to advocate for it. And the Dhar Man won't sit down in a meeting with us and like discuss the problem at all. They don't have to go all in. There's still a certain level of professionalism they're maintaining by not talking about their specific pay, which I can totally understand. It does make it more difficult for us to have the full context for sure. So I can understand you being apprehensive about like agreeing or believing it 100%. But like it's good and it's professional that they're not going in 100% on this. I better get at the next fucking level. This is ridiculous.
That's just how it works. Unless you haven't been around the internet for a decade, when you go on the internet with a truth, you better be fucking loaded the fuck up, because
Yeah, this is like when you're referring to like online controversy though.
you're causing damage just based on the existence.
Like they happen to work a normal job that like is posted online. They're not like online content creators. So this is just like a very terminal take.
Of that war, right? And if you don't have enough, and you have too little, and then you have nothing, right? It's damage caused for no reason that could have been avoided, and it's that you're causing irreparable damage, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And when I see this, what I see is a big gun, right?
I think it would cause a lot more damage if they came out with everything, because it would completely burn that bridge for Dhar Man to a point where they you know what I mean, like, so that's why they haven't gone out with everything. It makes sense from a business perspective for them to not do that, because they don't want to disrespect their boss, because this isn't something saying I hate my boss, it's just saying I wish my boss paid us more.
And not a lot of ammo loaded, and it makes you feel like it. Fuck, man, I want to be behind these guys and fucking, yeah, man, I'm with my platform and say, yeah, man, fuck Dhar Man, right? But I don't have enough to do so, and if I did, I would fuck on Dhar Man 50 times as hard. I'd be fuck this guy, right? I'd block his videos. I would be super, but now I can't, because if I take the word for it in the way that it's presented to me, well, I have a high chance of looking like a fool and causing even more damage for no reason.
Jeez, what the fuck did Charlie eat?
So let's say tomorrow, Dhar Man's like, hey, Dhar Man fam, so you saw those slimy protesters. Well, they didn't listen to my lessons. What happens if the dark does come to the light? Here's their salary, and here's the average rent for their house or their apartments. And it turns out their salary wasn't the worst thing in the world. Do you all of a sudden blame the workers for coming forward, even though the problem itself is still there, where he fired them for talking about it? Is the problem this not knowing their salary?
I get what he's saying. It's still a problem for us to know the context, but
Yeah, almost 100%. Yeah, I would get mad I think that the behavior can.
They also might have signed a contract that they can't talk about their salary. I actually didn't consider this point. They might have signed a contract where they can't talk about their salaries, which, by the way, is kind of scummy to make somebody do that in the first place. And so that might be why they're not talking about it.
Public, they know what they're doing, right? And in this instance, they know what they're doing, and I think it's being a little deceptive, if that were to come true.
So
I think it's a deceptive practice. Yeah, I think it is.
So for me, even if that came forward and it's like the pay is not the worst thing in the world, the core problem is he won't talk to them about adjusting it regardless. And the culture of firing them for talking about it is the core issue, which is what the whole thing is about.
Well, I didn't see enough proof of that. I didn't see anything at all.
Well, all their signs say the same thing. Enough, Darman, and talk to us, Darman. Like the signs are encouraging.
What were they fired?
Oh yeah, so the actors have been let go. I don't know about all of them, but
Can we see that?
Yeah, like that's a good question. Like which actors were like which sides?
Yeah, there's tons of Darman protests. So like one of the girls, I can't remember her name, but she was talking about how when they started filming in the garage, she was there from the beginning. The pay didn't change. As people talked to him about it or tried to talk to him about it, they would get ghosted or they would just get quietly let go. And that was the culture around the office where talking is a problem if you try and address these issues.
So
That's all there.
Like an emails like that, would they let go? Well, I'm just saying, I didn't see anything. It's so hard.
Like you mean like actual receipts of, hey, this is Darman, you're fired kind of thing?
Or like,
just the people saying, hey, I was the one that fired would be helpful, but you're not going to really be able to get that.
I don't know. In this tweet, it says that they were talked about opportunities and they would either accept or refuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this instance, I guess they weren't sent more offers to present new projects. Therefore, there's no more contracts offered to them.
Right, that's usually how it works, because they're not employees. So
Right.
that's how you let them go. Since they were never brought on as like salaried positions, that's how that works. There wouldn't be like Darman kicking in the door being like, you're out, bub, give me your badge and your gun.
That's what I would do.
That's how that process would work from talking about it.
Yeah.
You're out, bub.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm still not convinced about how this is being done, or I'm not convinced of like the substance of what is being done, and I certainly don't agree with the model. The model here, the way this guy's coming on and saying that, right? I wish was a little bit more clear and had more, because like I said, when you go public, it has to be heavy.
I think that's a fine critique to say like you wish there was more to rally behind. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but to take such a hardline stance of I will not trust these guys for X, Y, and Z is a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said before, like XQC's like pretending to be reasonable, but he's just like disagrees with them regardless. So.
I think there is still plenty that they have provided to lend credibility to it, considering all of the principal actors that I know from the DMCU have come forward corroborating
The DMCU. Oh my god. Darman Cinematic Universe.
each other's stories, as well as providing everything you need to prove that Darman will not communicate directly with them. I feel like the core issues have been proven here. The salary, I understand not releasing it. I'm sure there's even probably some kind of reason they couldn't, because usually salaries are more of a hush-hush thing, especially when it comes to like acting. That kind of shit's usually kept under wraps. So to me, that was never even the biggest part. It's alarming to hear that, and I have no doubt for like a YouTube production, there's definitely exploitation of actors. So that sucks. But the big thing they were rallying is we want to talk about it to help improve it for us, because we've been here for so long and we loved what we're doing with them. And so we just wanted to talk and didn't get a chance to. We just kept getting let go for it. Like I feel like everything from the core issue is there. It's just you would have preferred had they also dropped the salary.
Well, I mean, like I said,
I can't believe they're having an hour-long conversation about this topic, by the way.
something that is part of your core argument. It's a pillar, right? If you aren't willing to disclose
I hate how debate brand XQC is all the time. That's my fucking problem. How goddamn debate brand he is.
what the pillar is or in how strong it is, then I don't.
Like I feel like debating is so boring. Let's have the conversation. Like be like, yeah, I get that. I just wish I had more context.
No.
Okay, cool. This conversation could have been over like probably 15 minutes, honestly.
About if I feel confident about the integrity of
You guys must be bored talking about this so long.
the foundation itself. That's right. Every argument to make a lot of points, right? Then I'm a very visual guy. Okay, I'm a very visual.
Yeah, we're gonna watch the whole thing. That's how we do the content, brother.
Okay, so I'll have like a foundation would be like a platform.
It doesn't matter if it's fucking torture. We still watch it every day. We still do it. Okay? We still got to do it. We got to see it through, my boy.
Right? That's your main argument. Boom. Right? And the pillars of your platform is going to be your pillars, right? So let's say you have like, I don't know, like 5 of them, right? So you have like 5 pillars, okay? And then...
I think XQC just likes to debate sometimes, too. He's just being chilling, you know what I'm saying, dude?
if let's say 2 of them are kind of like shaky, right? And they're like, well, they're like a bit unproven, just kind of story. They're like, you know, then I think if I want to like back them up or whatever on the basis of the argument, well, I still think that it's shaky because I want to be on their side. A lot of these things, like people, I wish people understood it. Like I want to be on their side, right? Then we can shit on somebody.
I don't bow out of at least one of these videos a day. Not usually. If I bow out a video, it doesn't become a reaction. Okay, it doesn't become content. All right, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I love shit on people. I would love nothing else to be able to shit on Darman. Okay?
Why?
I just said like in this video.
Why? What are you, racist? Do you want to shit on a fucking successful brown man?
I wasn't given enough to shit on Darman.
That's fine. At the end of the day, they are still allegations, 100%. And I think that's important to remember. But there is still enough there for the core of like why they're doing it, and all of them are doing it. Like I feel like that's still a strong pillar. The pillar you're referring to is one about more so the salary and like the dropping of receipts for the salary.
Yeah.
But even still, I don't even if the salary comes out right now and it's like fucking great, honestly, it wouldn't change the issue of him letting people go for trying to talk to them or just not communicating, constantly pushing meetings and dodging, which is what the protest is focused on, just trying to talk to him.
Yeah, that is shit. I mean, does he not even show up to his own studio or something like that? Or what?
I have no idea. He self-inserts himself into videos. Chat saying the salary's out on TikTok, but I don't know if I'm being trolled.
No, it's on Twitter. Extras are paying $18 an hour. Speaking roles for actors was $33 to $44 an hour, and they've given $1,000 of opportunity jobs and millions of dollars. Is that it? They vary from hours long to a few days, but there are no full-time positions.
What is this? Is this like Darman's Instagram or something? Is that what we're looking at? Like what is it that we're looking at? Oh, Darman actually responded. Wait a minute. Hey Darman fam. We want to address the recent protests by some of our actors. First off, we'd like to thank the many actors and fans who have reached out to show their support, gratitude, and solidarity to us. We really appreciate that. Please see the recent posts and stories on the Darman Studios. Okay. Let me minimize this thing. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. First off, I'd like to think about okay, we really appreciate you. We read that one. For background, we did arrange an in-person hour-long meeting with actor representatives and with actor representatives, it's not him, and 2 of our most senior leaders, including our head of production, in hopes of understanding concerns prior to any protests. During the meeting, the actor representatives refused to communicate any concerns and instead walked out. For more information on the stories. Oh, I'm not even showing you what's being shown on the fucking screen because I'm an idiot. I meant to close that. Sorry, guys. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So I remember making the take yesterday that what happened is like maybe Darman didn't have the time to be there because it's a very successful business. So he had, by his argument, and the truth somewhere in the middle, but we're reading this now. It's that like we had tried to have the conversation, but the head actors refused to talk to the representatives, or the actor representatives refused to talk to Darman representatives, and so they walked out. Okay. In regards to actor compensation, we believe we pay our actors competitively compared to our peers. Our rates for actors vary. Extras received $18 an hour, and speaking role actors received $33 to $44 an hour. We are proud to have given thousands of actor job opportunities, and last year alone paid millions of dollars in actor compensation. Oh shit! Wow. Okay. If this is true, I feel like this is like a reasonable amount of money, and considering they're probably not there for that long. If they're making a video, maybe let's say if you're working 10 hours a week, getting $30 an hour, like you're obviously, this isn't like a full-time job. Who cares if they ask for him? He should have made it the time that he can come. I kind of disagree with that, because if you are a very successful boss in a particular industry, you may not have the time to be able to do this. And you might, I don't think that he has to come there and do that. Okay. Actors by nature work for many different production companies. We offer project-based opportunities that vary from a few hours long to a few days. We do not offer full-time positions, as we try to spread around opportunities and show a wide range of faces. All details, including pay rate and length of the production, are specified in the offer letter, and the actor has the freedom to accept or decline the project. If accepted, actors are always paid shortly after the production wraps, typically within 72 hours. Occasionally, we have stopped working with actors. This is typically due to conduct complaints from fellow actors, complaints from minor actors' parents, complaints from crew members, or an actor displaying unprofessionalism on or off set. We take complaints seriously and try to ensure every person has the best experience possible in working with us. Yesterday, a group of protesters interfered with 2 productions that were taking place. We want to apologize to the crew members and actors affected by the protesters and for the stress it may have caused. We thank you for all of your support and understand more information can be found in the stories. Please see our latest Instagram comment. Okay. Let's see. Darman number 1. Darman did not show up to a meeting he promised he would attend. Truth. Okay. God damn it. This goes through too fast. I want to just pause it, but it won't just pause. Okay. Truth. On Friday, January 13th, end of the day at 3:05, we received an email requesting a meeting. We were asked to respond by Monday, which was National Holiday, MLK, in regards to setting up the meeting. This doesn't even look like an actual email, though. This looks like somebody typed this up on Notepad, but okay. Despite the short response demand, our head of human resources responded by Monday. Okay. Wait, why does this look like Notepad here? And they're claiming this was the email, but this looks like an email. I'm actually a little suspicious now. That doesn't make sense to me. This is apparently the email. We just now feel that it is imperative for us to future work with the company to meet you with discuss blah 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 blah. Okay, whatever. But if you scroll over here, this is an actual email. So why did they show a notepad instead of an email? Okay. Okay. I don't know, dude. Darman's hitting me a little bit sussy. A little bit of a sussy Darman moment. Let's see. Representatives of the actors, representatives stated we would appreciate Darman and Ruben's attendance. It was never stated that it was required, nor does Darman typically attend these types of meetings. So Ruben, the head of our production, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Gotcha. During the meeting, and our senior managers, the representatives showed up, blah, blah, blah. No feedback was given in the hour-long schedule. The actor representative angrily walked out. Okay, whatever, because it's a meeting, they asked for feedback. Okay, I don't really care about a lot of this. This too, we voluntarily removed Carl's mural at Day Truth. We were required by our property manager to take it down. Oh, that was the mural from Carl. Okay. Okay. We don't issue actors 1099s to actors. They probably have to. We pay actors through PayPal. PayPal sends 1099s. Okay, if they release through PayPal, then you don't need to send a 1099. I get paid, like when I do like a PayPal thing, it doesn't really matter. Okay, we do not pay our actors. He showed us the thing. 5, we do not give actors or crew members credits. Apparently they do on IMDb, I guess. I've never seen the crew members or them get credits in the videos. I've never heard this claim. 6, we don't take feedback. Whatever. Anonymous feedback box. Okay, whatever. It doesn't mean that you actually take the feedback, but okay. Production wraps up. Okay, that's a lot of boring shit that I don't fucking care about, to be honest with you. Okay, they get a lot of positive feedback. We stopped working actors for medical conditions or disabilities. Never heard that claim in the first place. Okay, we held an in-person event where we sold merch, profited from it, and didn't compensate our actors. At the end of the year, we held an in-person event that created a fun fan experience, blah, 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 blah. It was a movie screening with a few hundred people. The tickets ranged from 25 to 100. Merch was not sold. It was given out for free. All revenue went towards the expenses of the event. No profits were made. Okay, but doubtful, but whatever. All right. Yeah, I mean, like, now they are going to have to come forward. This is going to be the problem. So now they're going to have to come forward and show how much money they get paid per project. And like, if it does turn out to be $30 or $40 an hour, they're going to look kind of stupid, because I think that that's reasonable. That's a reasonable rate, in my opinion. So, you know, but part of it could be fake. I don't really know. Let me actually get the video back up on the screen before we continue. Let's continue.
I think is standard. I'll link to the tweet if you want.
No, I got it pulled up. I'm reading.
He had no receipts in his response. It doesn't necessarily matter. Now it's up to them to prove that wrong, right? So they would have to come forward and prove that wrong. They would have to come forward and be like, no, I didn't get paid that much for this. They'd have to like show their PayPal statements or whatever. So I mean, it's a decent response. He might be telling the truth. I mean, like we don't have to assume that he's lying. The actors could be like, hey, we wish we got paid more because we know you make so much more money, and that's fair. But there's a difference from them not getting paid proportionately versus them not getting paid enough, right? Like if he's paying them $40 an hour for however long they're working, yeah, that's not so bad. I don't know. Now it's a conversation about proportionality and saying like you should be paying us more because you make more. I mean, maybe, but it doesn't sound like he's paying them nothing. So.
What was it, 33 to 40 an hour for speaking roles?
33 to 44, yeah.
I don't know what the industry standard is. I was in the Hunger Games and I got paid $1,000 for 2 days of work, so that seems a little odd. But I don't.
Maybe, but I wonder. 2 days of work, was that 16 hours? Seems like a lot. It's probably, maybe it's not the industry standard. There, that's another argument. So maybe it's not the. Was it 2,000 or 1,000? How much did he say?
For 2 days of work, so.
4, yeah.
I don't know what the industry standard is. I was in the Hunger Games and I got paid $1,000 for 2 days of
1,000. So we could do like 1,000 divided by 16 hours. So $62 an hour. Yeah, that would be more unless you work more of those days.
work. So that seems a little odd. But I don't know what the rate is there.
Okay, brother, you're comparing a Hollywood top fucking IP franchise.
That's why I said I don't know what the norm
That's true too. Yeah.
is there.
Okay, because when I look at Darman, all I see is good makeup artists, right? And Craigslist level acting.
Right. Like that is Darman's brand.
Okay.
Yeah. Still though, I mean, I could probably find some of these folks on Craigslist. If you want to make a challenge for me, make a Darman video, right?
You would go to Craigslist 100%.
And if I got like 10 folks, right? I paid them all half of what Darman does. I'd probably end up with a similar or better product.
So then, on that token, why don't you hire an editor that's cheaper than the one you currently have?
Fuck.
You can find one that do it for free, I bet. Why don't you?
Oh, because it's a working model, right? It's like the best combo ever could have it.
Well, yeah, XQC's point would be here. The reason I pay them like proportionally, or I don't look for the cheapest person, is because I know that like the more I pay these people, the better quality of work they'll be able to put out into like the atmosphere. Whereas with Darman actors, they suck. Like they're not that good. And I'm not trying to shit on them, but they're not that good of actors. And so like I don't need to pay somebody the best of the best because like I'm not gonna actually get. Like I'm not looking for Hollywood level of actors, so I'm not really gonna get much of a bang for my buck if I pay them more anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me. That would be his argument.
In the job, two things. It's a proven model combined with an adaptive pay, right? So not only do they know they're doing it, they've shown that they know how to adapt, and on top of that, they know that the pay will come in for the work that they put in, and more if they do more. That's how you create extreme value. That's how you make a lot of fucking money for these people.
So what you've just said is an argument in like my camp of like you should do these things because of what you just said.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. It's what you should.
You're under no obligation to, but you should, right?
I've always said this. No, I agree with you. Yeah, this is what you should do. But if they don't, I don't think they should be canceled for.
Well, that word cancel has truly lost all. It's become like the man-spreading of 2023. He's not being canceled. The protest is to talk to the guy.
It's true. That is true. Damn, that's actually a good point. It is kind of just like the man spreading, right? Yeah, that's actually a good point. Because like nobody's like, actually going to expect Darman to be canceled. It's about putting like a little bit of social pressure on him so that he'll like sit down to a meeting. Which, by his claims, he had his representative sit down and he wouldn't respond.
It's not burn Darman Studios down. They want to talk to him about exactly what you just laid out for your editors for them, or at least negotiating that.
Okay, Charlie. Then your video was named "Darman is in huge trouble." Okay,
yeah, it's a little clickbaity, but it doesn't. Yeah, okay.
Okay, Charlie. What is? Just stop it. What is that? What is the trouble he's in then? What is that trouble?
That the actors are upset, which makes everyone upset. Talk to your actors. That's trouble. Okay, it's not Darman is done.
I mean, come on. Like, listen. Like, I understand clickbait can be annoying and stuff, but I also feel like, based on this situation here, I feel like based on this situation, like. It's like I feel like XQC does just as much fucking clickbaity stuff, and it's not even that clickbaity. It's a little like over the top, but I feel like that's somewhat expected. It's not that over the top, you know.
It's not Darman was found in a ditch with his head
Okay,
missing.
good.
It's Darman has a problem. There is trouble at Darman Studios. There is. That's not a cancel.
You're being
In what
obtuse
way?
about the semantics for no reason now.
What do you? If I had titled this anything, Darman drama, Darman actors mad, you could make the same argument. It's not a. The word cancel has lost all meaning. It is calling out a problem, which there is a problem.
Damn. Okay, I just feel like it. This people in this trade will know that being in trouble means that you're gonna have repercussions, which is usually loss of job, loss of income,
I think you're being going a little too far.
loss of power,
maybe,
loss of influence,
but-
loss of thing. It's some sort of a loss,
All right, relax, XQC. You're being a little bit of a baby here.
right? In my opinion, that's what it kind of looks like.
Darman is
But
done.
in this trade,
What?
when somebody says somebody is in trouble, what is the conclusion of that? It's losing something, right?
No, not always.
And that's what people refer as cancellation.
That's a super.
It's very disproportionate. If you're gonna criticize Charlie for having a disproportionate title while you're having a disproportionate fucking reaction to what's happening here.
Super concerningly paranoid look at the word trouble. That is not what I gather from the word. If I read a tweet longer right now like XQC's in trouble, my first thought would be like, holy shit, he just lost in court. XQC he fell off
Well, my thing would be like, what's the trouble, right? That would be my next thing.
a scooter. XQC he paid for too many Pokemon cards. I don't immediately go to holy shit, XQC's career is in the shitter at all.
Really?
Trouble I feel like is the lightest. Trouble is a word they use in middle school for children. Like that is not a hard word. Like that is not.
Especially with like the YouTube culture, like the way that you title stuff. It's like when you say that something is in trouble, like you don't immediately think like people use the most intense word they possibly can in a scenario. So even if it's a little disproportionate, you know that it's not that as big of a deal.
Big at all. Like I feel like that's the
If I woke
lightest
up-
thing.
Really, it's different
They are paid to be bad actors, by the way. I 100% agree with that. They are paid to be bad actors. Okay.
perspective. Because if I woke up and I saw the internet about me and said, XQC is in huge trouble, I would think that I was sleepwalking and I was running with my dick out in public and I was waving
Probably not. If I heard XQC was in huge trouble, I don't know. He would have just said something dumb.
around, which is a
Par
big
for the
deal.
course, right.
And people would get mad about that and it would probably cancel me. That's what trouble is.
Okay.
My God, we not to be parasocial, we got to get to the bottom of these perceptions. My God, that is what an awful way to live. So I can't argue how you feel. I'm not here to argue your feelings. I'm not your psychiatrist here, but that is absolutely not what I think or even cross my mind with the word trouble.
I think of the popular board game.
Oh,
He is really. That's how I view the world. I want to be always at least not in big trouble. I never want to be in big trouble.
no one likes to be in trouble, but he has a problem. It is a problem. It has been called out. Thus, I talked about the trouble. At no point was there anything like Darman has to lose everything. It's Darman has to talk to these people who feel they have been wronged due to their pay and due to everything else they've been talking about.
I mean, if what he's saying is true that he had representatives show up and they didn't actually negotiate, then like I feel like Darman is doing fine. Yeah.
That is the trouble. It's one with a very easily solvable solution. It's talking to them.
Okay. You know what? Okay. See, here in this tweet, they say recently there's been a lot of misinformation about going around. Went through, we found a few things. In my philosophy, okay, I don't give a fuck people try to take this take. This is my fucking take, okay? This is not a character anymore. I'm not fucking playing around. This is my real take as a person, okay? If
Okay.
somebody that I work with makes deliberate misinformation, at that point, even though I was gonna give them a raise and a bonus and I was gonna work with them, I don't give a fuck anymore. They are fired. I think doing malicious misinformation makes you a fucking liability. And I
Well, who's saying that the information is malicious? Like they might still feel like they are worth more, even if like they're getting paid decently, which is fine. Like I think it's fun to advocate for yourself. I don't have to agree. I don't even. Again, I don't know what the standard is or anything else. It seems like they're getting paid decently, so whatever. But I mean, they still have the right to advocate for themselves. They might be in a situation where it's like, you know, like let's say they could get paid like triple, and it would put like $0 out of Darman's pocket, and we feel like we should get a little bit more considering how long we've been here for. But if you give us your pay, if we tell you how much we get paid right now, you're just going to think that we're being stupid anyway, so we're not even going to bother giving you the information. So that might have been why they didn't come forward with it. I don't know.
will never work with you again. Because as the one who buys the ship, builds the ship, steers the ship, right? You took the risk the whole way through. When somebody is willing to take a risk for the whole thing, right? They're what we call a fucking liability. And I will never let that happen ever again. That's usually how it goes. So I would be more about the fucking people being a scumlord and try to snake go to the public, like that.
Oh, you think that he has something to do with him in the adept situation, so he's a little sensitive? Maybe. I'm not possible, I guess.
I hate that.
Not super educated on the topic, but yeah, sure.
And people, even in private, that I've spoken to in the past, that does some fly shit. I've never just on stream, right? I never talked to him ever again. And when it was time to get invited to something to go to fuck, I didn't reply. Why? Because fuck people like that. I hate that. It's one of my biggest pet peeves with people.
Okay.
You and every other human being on the planet. No one likes that. Like that's everyone knows that. But you are taking, just in the way you were against taking their word for it, you're taking Darman's word of misinformation and running with it.
True.
Right?
Yeah. True.
So
yeah, exactly. You're not wrong. You got me there. Yeah, I agree.
No, fair enough.
I don't agree with the methods.
Right, and that is fine. Like if there is misinformation, you were absolutely right to be like, I'm washing my hands with him. This guy, he's bad news. I tell
He's in trouble.
you, Bubba Long Johnson's the worst man in the world for his malicious misinformation campaign. 100%. I think everyone in the world would agree with that. But as of the moment, the core issue is he wouldn't talk to them.
What the hell is going on?
Or the meetings.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
I can't read that. What's that say?
It says myth number 1, and then it
No, the arrow. I can't. Actually, I'll just pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up. Yeah, of course, I don't want you to be here with no ammo, bruh.
Is it on his Instagram or his Twitter?
His Instagram.
I just leave it to you. It's in chat right here. Oh, the whole thing? I'll let you do the whole thing. Yeah, do the whole thing.
Oh, thanks.
And the manager says, stop talking about
Boss
this
won't die. What the
right
fuck?
now. I'm just kidding. He says, yo, dark and darker. No. Yeah, I'm sure. Chat, everybody that I work with, okay, they're all on adaptive pay. All of them. Even manager, motherfuckers, the whole, everybody's on adaptive pay. If I do dog shit, they get dog shit supreme. It's just how it is.
That makes sense.
Where's the next one? Oh, that was the last one there.
I'm just ahead of HR. I was forwarding email. I'd love to chat you ideas and make things better. I mean, now I'm gonna go against Darman, and say that, yeah, this is gonna cook, because it's not even a myth, okay? Their HR said that she would love to talk to them, but not Darman himself, which doesn't really do anybody any good.
Yeah, that's just corroborating once again that Darman was not the one to try and, like, he wasn't actually talking to them, but I haven't finished yet, so maybe he does by the end.
No, he doesn't. I just don't really care if he does or doesn't talk to them. Specifically, I mean, if he's like a busy guy and he has other shit going on, I'm not really super concerned if he's like, specifically showed up to the meeting. From what he says, it sounds like they offered a meeting on short days' notice, and he had his reps show up, and they didn't want to talk to anybody but Darman, and they didn't like accurately communicate that. And like, if that's true, then like, okay, they're being annoying, or maybe he's lying about it, because one of the emails looked like it wasn't really an email. So. Are they just gonna go through like the intro? Might as well finish now, my boys.
Is this fair enough?
Have you got to the end of that first batch? Because he's literally just proving everything they said. So at the end of it, he wasn't the one that was there. It is again
He's not really proving. I don't think he's really proving everything that they said.
mentioning the two people, which
A little bit of confirmation bias there, but okay.
Colin mentions in his video, but they had reiterated many times they want Darman there to discuss it because he signs their contracts.
But so the thing is that doesn't matter, right? That part doesn't matter. Like I said, it would be nice if he showed up, but given the context, if he's busy and he has a representative that can like represent him pretty well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how like the business world will work. So like there's really nothing wrong with that. He doesn't have to show up just because they want him to be there doesn't mean that they are entitled for him to be there. Okay, that part doesn't really bother me. It's did they seriously listen to the concerns that were being placed?
Which is a very reasonable ask, I think, since he was the one that dictates
Well, it could be.
He didn't go. He instead just kept passing it off to HR and the head of production.
Because like the way I look at it is like, let's go back to Amazon. Let's say that you're like, I want to sit down with fucking Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos is like, I'm just send a representative to sit down with you. I think that's reasonable. Okay.
And didn't want to go. And then at the end said, unfortunately, another meeting at this time won't be possible. Thanks and have a great weekend. Is this? I'm assuming this is Darman Studios' response, not theirs, but let's check.
This is a petty PayPal, and I think I agree with this. I think this is actually true. that they get their 1099s from PayPal themselves.
They do. You absolutely do. It gets annoying because I get paid from some places through PayPal. TikTok specifically sends me like a 1099, and then I get paid through PayPal from TikTok because it goes from TikTok to PayPal. So I have to go to my insurance person and say, like, you have to, like, I have two 1099s with the same fucking money on it. You have to remove one of those, you know?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that even fucking PayPal give me fucking the fucking 1099s, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not getting cooked. Nobody's getting cooked. This isn't the point of the discussion.
This is just a reasonable discussion between adults.
You're getting cooked. You're getting cucked.
Is what's happening here.
And it seems like there's a difference in life perspective and other perspectives, which is fine. I have disagreements. Okay.
Why the fuck is this going off so fast? Wait, I have to quit because I don't know what's going on here. I want to see what their passive is. A permanent plus their start with temporary cooldown.
I don't doubt Daniel is a saint, but what does he have to do with any of this?
Daniel.
Who's Daniel?
Oh, have you not got to their anonymous feedback box?
Well, I mean, they have 1,300. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't. Of course, I assumed, which I shouldn't be doing it. Darman Studios actor survey. I don't think they would deceptively get one out of either all dog shit or a majority.
Well, it's just this is completely irrelevant to everything, is what I'm saying. This is very much like, hey, we actually take all feedback seriously, and here's Daniel. He's fucking awesome. Like, everything they showed before this was once again proving exactly what Colin said, that the previous meetings Darman did not show up for, and instead just kept trying to put the HR head and the head of production there, even though they just kept asking for just being able to talk to Darman, since he is the one that signs the contracts, dictates the pay. So they just...
Yeah, I don't care about that. Like, again, like, just because you ask for something doesn't mean you get it. I don't think if they showed up and then Darman's representatives were willing to have a conversation with them, Darman could be lying, but if they showed up and their representatives were willing to have a conversation and they didn't want to just because they wanted to be Darman, that's their fault. They should have had the conversation about what they wanted, what expectations they had. That's on them. Like, I can't really fault the Darman for that one. You have to, life's not going to be perfect, so that's kind of on you there.
just kept asking for him, and he refused to be there.
Okay.
Everything they just dropped creates that whole thing, unless they come out with something else.
And in the real world, usually your boss is a higher up. If you work at Amazon, you will never see your boss. You'll never see Bezos ever.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Well, who would they talk to? Is HR a good way to downscale it?
Well, they're not employees. They shouldn't be talking to HR anyway. They're fucking contractors. Like, there's no reason HR would be the one to intercept contractors. HR is for fucking like employee workplace behavior, really.
No. What are you talking about? Well, they're contractors or employees to an extent. What are you talking about? That doesn't, what you said just makes no sense. Why? So HR wouldn't talk to them because they're they're agents or they're temporary? That's absolutely untrue. Of course HR would talk to them. That would be their infrastructure to talk to them. You're just objectively incorrect about that. That's exactly who would be talking to them.
So, like, that's already, like, HR can be there. That's fine. That makes sense. But it shouldn't be like your principal.
If your argument is that HR can't be the one to negotiate a contract, that's fair as well. But, like, apparently somebody else was there. Like, who they didn't sit down to have the conversation. That's the problem. Or at least that's the claim from Darman.
Communication, when the person that hired you, like, the person that is signing those contracts, isn't showing up. That's why they're asking for that.
It's just not going to happen. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I mean, like, there's an infrastructure at every company that's going to, like, have specific people that are assigned to deal with particular problems. When I had an issue, I couldn't go to the owner of the company and say, I have this problem, talk to me. So.
Dude, this guy's no idea how it works. He's becoming cringe. Me? Because if you have a problem with your pay at your job, I don't really know who you talk to. I mean,
again, you're comparing very different jobs. You're comparing working at Amazon to being the lead actor in the productions of which Darman himself does self-inserts.
Yeah, but you did the same thing by saying at a regular company, HR isn't the one to deal with this stuff. Like, yeah, you're comparing very different jobs. And it's okay to make these comparisons, by the way. I've been making them too. But, like, yeah, HR sounds like the people they would go to if they had a complaint about the way that they were being treated in some capacity. So,
it's where he is in the production as well. And early on, he was in a lot of them. Like, these actors have built a relationship directly with Darman, and now all of a sudden he will not talk to them. It's very different. It's not like you're a random employee at Amazon, faceless nobody to Jeff Bezos trying to communicate with him. Like, you have better luck writing his name on a rock and throwing it out your window and him getting it than actually trying to communicate with him. Here, it's a lot more what I would imagine would be direct, since you are the principal leads in, like, their cash cow. And you did have a relationship with him directly not too long ago. So I just feel like those are two very different things to try and compare. These are the stars of the content.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's life, I guess. I can't wait to take a piss. I'll be real with you.
Some of these surveys look pretty good. I mean, 106 is a 8. I mean, yeah, you have a combined 1% under a 7 out of 10.
Dude, what does that have to do with anything, though? If I'm doing a survey, I'm telling you right now, I'm just doing the quickest way. But regardless, this has nothing to do with the actual core problem. This is all ancillary nonsense that doesn't actually matter to what's happening currently.
Okay. Then the takeaway from all this is the conditions and shit. I can make a conclusion, but here's the take. Hey, Darman, get your dumbass to the studio and talk to some of these folks. And if they don't agree with them, say no. And if they don't agree, well, they can quit.
That's exactly right. No one has ever argued that point. We've made it there. That is the core issue. Darman, talk to us. We don't agree with our pay. Whether or not we are right in disagreeing with it, it's irrelevant. We just want to talk about it. Stop letting people go when they try to talk to you, and please stop dodging our meetings. That's the core. That is what the protest is about.
That's it.
Okay, but like a representative of Dharman can communicate whatever his message is pretty effectively to them. So the fact that they wouldn't sit down and actually have the conversation with that person, like that's on you guys. You should have sat down and talked to the HR rep, and then if it didn't go well, you could have escalated from there. But you immediately escalated. So,
well, this is my 8-second video. Hey, Darman, go to the studio, motherfucker, and talk to some of these folks.
All right. Okay.
That's
Fuck
it.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Thank you. Yes, we got there. Yeah.
All right. Boom. That was a fair enough. See, I enjoyed this very healthy discussion. Thanks for debunking it for me.
Hey, no worries, man. I appreciate the discussion as well. I hope.
Sound like a lot of fun.
Are you playing a game tonight, or what are you doing tonight?
Oh yeah, playing some scary games, some shit. But yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah. I hope you have. I hope you have Harry Potter. You playing Harry Potter?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and bust some ass through it.
Oh man, you have to bust your ass to the fucking comments molding about the other stuff related to the game. Good luck with that.
All right, man. Have a good stream, bro.
Thank you, bye bye.
See ya.
Okay. All right.
I think that was a very productive discussion overall.
I don't. But okay. It was something to do, huh? I think we're good, right? Yeah, we're good. We get there's like a minute left. We're gonna get through
Thanks
it.
to the 5 gift subs, Murph. Sorry, I wasn't really looking at chat during that. I thought so. I gotta tell you though. I'm getting a little worried for his editors. I was hearing some stuff in there. I'm like, wait, just wait. Let's pump the brakes a little bit there. You sure? There were a couple things in there I was a little skeptical of on the editing side.
Okay.
Where with all these massive companies making work?
Good enough. All right, cool.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.